James Cameron sold the rights to The Terminator to Gail Ann Hurd for $1, with the condition that Hurd would produce the film only if Cameron directed it. Cameron did this because he wanted to direct the film, but was not an established director at the time. While this deal allowed Cameron to direct, he later regretted selling the rights for such a low amount, as The Terminator and its sequels became a massive success. In 1927, silent film star Norma Talmadge accidentally stepped into wet cement while visiting her friend, TCL Chinese theater owner Sid Groman. Groman saw the opportunity, invited other stars, including Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford, to join her in leaving their prints. The area in front of the Chinese theater became known as the Forecourt of the Stars, and the tradition continues to this day. The Wilhelm scream is a famous stock sound effect that has been used in hundreds of films, TV shows, and video games since the 1950s. It's a distinctive, exaggerated male scream often used when someone is shot, falls from a great height, or is otherwise in peril. First recorded in 1951 for the film Distant Drums, where a character gets bitten by an alligator. The scream got its name from the 1953 movie The Charge at Feather River, in which a character named Private Wilhelm is shot with an arrow and lets out the scream. The sound of a Star Wars lightsaber was created by pairing together the sound of an idle film projector and the buzz from an old TV set. Cookie Monster's real name is Sid. Elvis was originally blonde. He started dyeing his hair black for an edgier look. Sometimes he would touch it up himself using shoe polish. I wonder if that's where Steven Seagal got the idea. The actors who voiced Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, Wayne Allwine and Russi Taylor, were married in real life. Wayne Allwine was the voice of Mickey Mouse from 1977 until his death in 2009. Russi Taylor became the voice of Minnie Mouse in 1986 and continued until her passing in 2019. The two met while working on Disney projects and eventually fell in love and married in 1991. They kept their relationship fairly private, but those who worked with them described them as incredibly sweet, with a real-life chemistry that matched Mickey and Minnie's. Psycho was the first U.S. film to show a toilet flushing. Alfred Hitchcock insisted on realism, so a flushing toilet became a minor scandal. In The Godfather, the infamous scene where a character wakes up to find a horse's head in his bed was not a prop, but an actual horse's head from a butcher. The production team had to deal with the stench and gore, and the actor's shock reaction was very real. According to Time magazine, the art director selected a horse that was soon to be slaughtered from a New Jersey dog food plant. Chris Farley was originally cast as the voice of Shrek and had reportedly recorded around 85 to 90% of his dialogue for the character before his untimely death in 1997. Farley's version of Shrek was said to be softer and more insecure, reflecting more of his own personality rather than the boisterous, gruff version we know today. After Farley's death, DreamWorks decided not to use the recordings out of respect and instead recast the role with Mike Myers. Myers brought a new interpretation to the character, including the now iconic Scottish accent, and re-recorded all the dialogue. The success of the film helped launch Shrek into a massive franchise. The first moving picture, The Round Hay Garden Scene, was created in 1888. It's very short, don't blink. The first movie studio in Hollywood, Nestor Studios, opened in 1911. In 1912, Nestor Studios merged with Universal Film Manufacturing Company, which was founded by Carl Laemmle. This merger played a large role in the formation of Universal Pictures, one of the big five major American film studios. This partnership ultimately gave rise to Universal Studios, which still exists today as one of the most successful film studios in the world. The Jazz Singer from 1927 marked a pivotal moment as the first feature-length film with synchronized dialogue sequences, although they were very brief. The first full-length feature film in color was The World, the Flesh, and the Devil from 1914. Now considered a lost film, it was made using the additive color Kinemacolor process. Kinemacolor was the first successful color motion picture process, Used commercially from 1909 to 1915, it was invented by George Albert Smith in 1906. It was a two-color additive color process, photographing a black and white film behind alternating red and orange and blue and green filters and projecting them through red and green filters. It was demonstrated several times in 1908 and first shown to the public in 1909. From 1909 on, the process was known and trademarked as Kinemacolor and was marketed by Charles Urban's Natural Color Kinematograph Company, which sold Kinemacolor licenses around the world. Charles Voigt Harrelson, born 1938, died 2007, was the father of actor Woody Harrelson and a convicted contract killer whose criminal activities garnered national attention. Born on July 23rd of 1938 in Lovelady, Texas, Charles Harrelson worked various jobs including encyclopedia sales and professional gambling. He married 4 times. His second marriage to Diane Lou Oswald produced 3 sons, Woody, Brett, and Jordan. In 1968, Charles left the family, and Diane raised the children in Ohio and Texas. Woody Harrelson later reconnected with his father during adulthood. Charles Harrelson's criminal record included multiple murder charges. 1968, accused of murdering Alan Harry Berg, a Texas grain dealer. He was acquitted in 1970. 1968, convicted for the contract killing of Sam Diglio Jr., for which he received a 15-year sentence, but was paroled after 5 years. In 1979, convicted for the assassination of U.S. District Judge John H. Wood Jr., marking the first killing of a federal judge in the 20th century. Harrelson was reportedly paid $250,000 for this contract killing. During a standoff with police in 1980, Harrelson claimed responsibility for the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. However, this claim was widely discredited and attributed to his impaired state at the time. In 1995, Harrelson attempted to escape from the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary but was unsuccessful. Subsequently, he was transferred to a high-security ADX Florence prison in Colorado. He died there of a heart attack on March 15th of 2007 at the age of 68. Despite his father's criminal background, Woody Harrelson maintained a relationship with Charles during his incarceration. He reportedly spent significant resources attempting to secure a new trial for his father, believing that he did not receive a fair trial. Isla Fisher got into difficulty while filming the piranha tank scene in Now You See Me. The top of the tank remained open so that Fisher would be able to swim to the top to get some air, and there was also an emergency lever inside the tank that, if pulled, would alert the crew that she needed help. During one take, Fisher was running out of air and tried to swim to the top, but the chains on the handcuffs she was wearing got stuck on the bottom of the tank, so she was unable to swim to the top or pull the lever. She then attempted to alert the crew by hitting the glass of the tank, but since her character is supposed to be panicked and scared in the scene, the crew thought she was acting. She was stuck for 3 minutes before the stunt coordinator finally realized that something was wrong after he noticed that her handcuffs were stuck. If I knew then what I know now. In that famous poppy field scene in The Wizard of Oz, the snow coming down is calming to Dorothy and her posse, but they should probably have been far less relaxed as these were actually asbestos-based fake snowflakes, a popular Christmas decoration throughout the United States and Europe at the time. Wicked indeed. Asbestos. Yeah, we've learned since then. Sticking with The Wizard of Oz, Toto actually made more than the little people. The canine actor earned $125 per week for his efforts, while the actors playing the Munchkins brought in just $50 a week. During the early years of the Academy Awards, the organization provided newspapers with the names in advance, the names of the winners, with the agreement that they would not publish the names until 11 p.m. Of course, then someone had to ruin it for everyone when the Los Angeles Times broke this rule during the heated 1940 competition, announcing that Gone with the Wind had won before the statue had been handed out. It led to a rule change that stands today. In Home Alone, that picture of Buzz's girlfriend was actually a picture of the art director's son wearing a wig. Devin Rattray, the actor who played Buzz, admitted that the girl in the picture was actually the son of the movie's art director. They decided it would be unkind to put a girl in that role of just being funny looking. The art director had a son who was more than willing to volunteer for the part. Perhaps if he would have known it would be the highest grossing family comedy of all time, he might have had second thoughts about it. But that's a man, baby. In Die Hard, Bruce Willis's role was actually offered to 73-year-old Frank Sinatra first. Sinatra was contractually obligated to get first dibs because he starred in the film's prequel in 1968. In 1968, Frank Sinatra starred in a movie called The Detective, which was based on a book. Over a decade later, a sequel to that book was published. That new book was the inspiration for the 1988 movie Die Hard, which technically made it a sequel to Sinatra's movie. Because Sinatra starred in the first movie, he was contractually obligated to get first dibs on that sequel. He was 73 years old at the time, so he graciously turned down the role. And sticking with Die Hard, Alan Rickman, who played Hans Gruber in Die Hard, didn't know exactly when he was going to be dropped during the iconic fall from Nakatomi Plaza. During the scene where Hans Gruber falls to his death from the skyscraper, director John McTiernan and the stunt team rigged Rickman to a harness over a blue screen setup. They told him they would drop him on the count of 3, but instead they let him go on 1. The surprise drop resulted in a genuine expression of shock and fear on Rickman's face, which made the scene far more realistic and memorable. His startled look became one of the most famous shots in the film, and a great example of how directors sometimes use unexpected methods to get authentic performances.